Right, in this video I am going to install this new top box on my motorbike, Yamaha Super Tenere. Now, this is a Givi Outback Trekker top box. It's actually Triumph branded. Okay, I bought it off a guy who's got a Triumph Tiger, but it's a Givi Outback Trekker, just like the side cases that I've got on here. So the challenge with this one, it's not a huge challenge, but it came with an adapter, with the actual adapter plate, and this one's made especially for the Triumph Tiger, but doesn't fit onto my bike. I had a look to see if maybe these mounting posts might line up, but they don't, not surprising. So I think the best option here is what I'm going to do. These two pins here and this piece here are the three mating points. So I'm just going to actually unscrew them from this mounting plate and attach them to this AltRider rack that I've got here. And we've also got these rubber stops. The placement of those isn't critical, but what I'm going to do is just transfer across these 3 points. You can see there's already 2 holes here, which are perfectly spaced for that. So I'll place this piece right there, and then we'll transfer across the location for these other mounting pins, get them mounted, and then once that's all good, then I'll drill some holes for these little rubber bumpers, and it should be good to go. All right, let's get started. So, first step, just marked out on the back here what these holes are, which ones are in use. So, pin there, rubber bumper, and catch. So what I can then do is, once I've taken these off, I can just flip it upside down and I can transfer the holes across. First, we'll get this catch off. It uses a T30 security bit, which I've got here. So the next step is getting these little rubber bumpers out. The way that I'm doing it, so I'm just going to, it's quite tricky, pinch it down and then push it through. There we go. Next, for these pins, we've got 4mm Allen key on the top and 10mm nut on the bottom. Basically just a little washer there. That would be quite easy to machine on a lathe, actually, if you needed replacements.
There we go. So next step, we'll line this up and transfer the holes.
So I've actually just used those 2 pins just to go through there, just to hold this in place. Not super tight, but just so that I can line it up. Now I'm just lining this up visually. You see this hole here lines up with the center. This hole these holes line up with these bolt holes. And yeah, just visually it looks like it's lined up. I'll tweak it ever so slightly. But now I'm just going to transfer these holes through as well as I'll actually just center punch them right here, and then I'll drill them. I could take this rack off and drill these on my drill press, which is a little bit more accurate than a hand drill, but I don't think it's really necessary. I think I can be accurate enough with a hand drill, as long as I get a good center punch just for those drill holes. Okay, this is probably going to be a bit loud. Let's just double check that alignment again. Quite a bit of bounce for these holes. Wish I had my automatic setter punch, but actually can't find where it is. Okay, got 2 pinholes, 4 rubber holes. That should be good. It's my 7mm drill bit. Doesn't quite fit. That's a 6.5. I'm going to use it instead. I can always enlarge the holes slightly. Now, these are the 2 pinholes here. I'm going to drill some of the bumper holes first. Actually, I'm not going to drill those because they're close enough to an existing hole. I'll just use them. Here's 2 other bumper holes. Not quite tight enough. There we go, that's the one broken through. Here's 2 holes for the rubber bumpers. Now, let's drill these pinholes.
Just need to check that. Torque setting on that. These aren't the greatest drill bits. Just adjust that more. You should see that.
Kind of drilling a bit, letting off the pressure. That breaks up the chips. Also, it's not as hard in your drill bits. Okay, so that's one of the pinholes. That's another one of the pinholes. These are the rubber bumper holes. Now there was another rubber bumper right there, but I think I'll just might use that hole, or if not, might drill something a bit further away from that existing hole. See how it goes. The rubber bumpers aren't critical. Okay, so let's just test fit some of these pins. Interesting. Is that washer? Not sure if that's above or below. That washer above, I think that might not be right. Just test fitting these, so I won't worry about doing them up. Okay, that's how it sits. It does hang a fair bit further back than I would like necessarily. I don't need that much space. I'd like to keep the weight as central as possible. So it would be better if that sat further forward, but I don't think I can really do that, because if I was to move that forward by, let's say about that much, that would actually put this locking block right in the middle of that gap there. So not ideal, but I think it'll be good enough. Just hand fitting these. I'm going to put a lot of Loctite on them when I push them back. I think the spacer actually does go on top. Just looking at how high those pins sit. I need to deburr those holes before I go putting the rubber into them. Just a little trick for deburring holes, just get a larger drill bit. Deburring tool's better, but I don't have one. nearly tore through. Now I'm going to pop these into this hole and see if they... Actually no, I'll do one test fit first. So it will be fairly difficult to get out. Right. There we go. That does rock around a bit, but it's because I don't have any of those rubber bumpers up there. So I am just going to pop these in here. So I think that should work well. It means I don't need to drill extra holes. A bit of a push from the top seems to help too. Being Givi, I don't doubt that those are very expensive replacement parts. There we go. Much better. Those rubber bumpers are a little bit close. When I was sliding this on, it pulled on one of them, but I'm hardly ever going to be taking this off, so I'm not too concerned. All right, now I'm going to need to think about how I reinforce those pins. Okay, so I'm still not sure what I'm going to do about bracing this, because you can see this pin here fits into this hole, and it is fairly close to the edge of that little cutout. One idea I've had is I could cut just this section here, so basically a little bar, and that bar could go across there, top and bottom, and then I'll drill another hole here and affix that. So basically it's got a little bracing across the top and bottom, like sandwiching across that. I'm just not sure. I thought about using a washer on, and I can fit a washer in. Don't think that's really going to make much of a difference. It's something needs to span across this gap if I'm going to have anything. I mean, this is reasonably. So that's a 10mm aluminium plate. It's an AltRider rack. I'm actually thinking I might just leave this as is and not worry about reinforcing it. And my thinking there is, I don't tend to carry much weight in this top box. Small backpack, a couple of litres of water, just stuff that I need quick and easy access to. When I'm stopped at the shops, I'll chuck my helmet in there, but when the bike's not moving, I don't need to worry about how much weight's in there. If I'm going to crash, the chances of this box getting knocked is fairly low. It's high up. Often I've got the side cases on as well, so I'm actually thinking I might just leave these pins as they are screwed into that, screwed in there, and see how it goes. I may regret that, but I think, given the options that I've got, like reinforcing this, I'm not sure how much that's going to do. Like, it will spread the load out, but yeah, I mean, 10mm aluminium is pretty strong, and if the case gets a knock from the side, I mean, on the one hand, this is, like, this side will be pulling up. This side's going to be, could fold that way, but yeah, I think it's going to be okay. So I'm just going to Loctite up these bolts, and I think we can call it done. These ones are nylock nuts, but because they're used, and in aviation these nylock nuts are single use. They are good for more than single use, but I'm going to Loctite this anyway, just as extra precaution. The screws going into here, I'm definitely going to put some Loctite on them. Alright, let's get to it. Okay, so just using 222 Loctite. Quite a bit, more than it needs, but I don't mind too much. 222 isn't too strong, so it's not too much of a pain to undo it, even if you put a lot on. Careful not to over tighten these.
Okay, now for this guy. Put that on. It's nice and tight, not over tight. Undo this one, Loctite it. Keep knocking that over.
There we go, all done. Now, let's pop this back on. Beautiful. And there we go. As nice. This is just a nice size. My new helmet is fair bit larger than an old one, fits in perfectly. This is actually a little laptop bag that the guy who I bought it from installed in there. It's actually quite neat. Yeah, speaking of which, so I bought this one, picked it up today from a guy selling it on Facebook Marketplace. He actually pulled this off a Triumph Tiger 800. He's prepping for a round the world trip and put a bigger top box on. So he's got a YouTube channel. I'll chuck a link to it here. It actually looks pretty cool what he's doing. I'm very jealous. I wish I could be starting off for a round the world trip very soon, but sadly I can't. But yeah, this should do me very nicely. I'm very happy with that. Fits on the rack. Hangs over the end a little bit further than I would like, as I talked about before. But yeah, it's what I can do with the rack that I have. I mean, the real solution to this would be I could buy a purpose-made rack for the Tenere, the Super Tenere, which has those installed, but that's probably going to cost me $200 to $300, whereas I'm reusing this AltRider rack, which is a very good rack, and yeah, works fine. Okay, well that's it for today. Thanks for watching.